So I am happy with the 4 years that we were given by the governor's office.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given by the governor's office. I just want y'all to know we all weren't involved in the negotiation. And I greatly appreciate the good senator from Aurora, my other co-prime on this, working to ensure that we didn't go down to 2 years, because then what the heck would be the point of the bill? I mean, seriously. So, you know what? The governor has a vote. He gets to have a stroke of the pen. And if he doesn't like 5 years, then he can take care of that downstairs when he gets ready to not sign this bill, apparently. So they didn't have the respect for both co-prime sponsors to ask both of us to come down and negotiate this, because they knew that I would say no. They knew that this was ridiculous. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to go on for a while here, folks. So here's the thing. Why do we need child care educator tax credit in Colorado? Because quality early experiences lay the foundation for a lifetime of success. A child's brain undergoes a remarkable period of growth from birth to 3 years, producing 700 new neural connections every second. This brain development is influenced by a child's relationships, experiences, and environment. These investments have both immediate and long-term benefits to the individual child and society at large, and ensuring that children start school ready to learn preempts a lifetime of remediation at a far higher cost. Do I need to remind us? 60% of our kids can't read at a 3rd grade level. That was the argument why we needed the Department of Early Childhood, and why we needed universal pre-K, and why we need free kindergarten for everybody, free universal pre-K for everybody as well, everything. And we knew going into this, before we went off and offered all that, before we were making campaign promises come true for the first floor, that we do not have enough early childhood educators, that we have a shortage. It's a huge shortage. 80% of the centers, 80%, it's not like it's only 12%, it's 80% are experiencing a staffing shortage. We know that. We heard about it. In our Early Childhood Readiness Committee, it spoke about there's a $1 billion shortfall for trying to get the number of necessary early childhood educators that we need for these 246,000 children. We are failing. We're failing our schools, we're failing our students at the school level, and we know we have a shortage. We know that this credit works, and yet we're willing to say, no, we don't want to do 5 years because that just doesn't sound good, I guess, for election campaign promises. We're only going to do 4 years. We're having the governor intercede, superstep, and overstep. This is our decision. This isn't his decision. He doesn't get to negotiate it down. The negotiation should be happening here with state senators on this floor. We know that the early childhood educator tax credit works. We know it works because this program has been basically modeled after what has occurred in Louisiana and Nebraska. They've established a child care educator tax credit. So not like we just pulled this out of the air. It's not like we just said, oh, last fall, gosh, what do you think, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? No, let's do 2. No, how about we go back to 5? We didn't do that. So for somebody arbitrarily on the first floor to decide that they think they can come in here and negotiate the bill with only one of the co-prime sponsors is not only disrespectful, it's just absolutely wrong. The Louisiana and Nebraska Child Educator Tax Credit that's available to directors and staff providing child care. This refundable credit includes several key components designed to encourage improvements to child care providers' quality, to improve compensation to the early childhood workforce, and to increase access to child care providers among families who use subsidies to pay for child care. Key features of the effective child care educator tax credit includes size of the credit tied to the credential level, which we have. And before I keep going on, the other thing that just really ticks me off about this is, did I mention that more than 1/3 are considered leaving the field and that the percentage is higher for minority-owned programs? And which co-prime sponsor did they go to? The co-prime sponsor? Me. From Aurora. They put her in a heck of a spot. They put her in a horrible spot. And I'm very happy. I know she worked hard to negotiate not to go down to 2 or 3 and got us to 4. And I am so appreciative of that.
Thank you.
I certainly am. But that doesn't dismiss the issues I have with the first floor on this. Basically not negotiating with both of us and basically thinking they can intercede before the Senate has the opportunity to have that discussion. So, length of service requirement. This is also how it works. Staff would need to be employed for at least 6 months within the tax year to be able to get the credit. So an effective early childhood educator tax credit. They've got to go through and they've got to get their credentialing. That takes time. It's not like it's going to happen just tomorrow. That's why we made an amendment to the bill that said they just have to work 6 months in a year to get the credit, that they didn't have to get their credentialing and then go get the credit, because that would have interrupted it. But they have to go through a process to get their credentialing first. That takes time. Can take anywhere from 6 months to a year at least to start working to get their credit. But an effective early childhood tax credit encourages improvements in the provider's quality, improves compensation of the early childhood workforce. We have a shortage. We have a shortfall. We just put in a new department. We just basically made everybody's Christmas wishes on the first floor come through by saying we're going to have free universal pre-K, preschool for everybody. Proposition EE didn't say that. Proposition EE said 10 hours a week. We had to go through and say, yeah, we're going to do free preschool for everybody, 3 and 4 years of age. We're messing up human services programs. We're messing up the CCAP program. And on top of it all, we know to be able to do that, we need more early childhood educators. And the way to do that is to get this tax credit in place. And we know these work. So it is absolutely ridiculous. It is outrageous that the first floor thinks that they can intervene in this bill and reduce it from 5 years to 4 years, when they know that is not going to be enough time for us to get and fulfill this shortage that we need. So I am asking you, I am pleading with you, please say no to this L004, to this amendment, and let's do what's right. Let's work to get enough early childhood educators. You work to pass a bill. You work to pass a bill that says everybody free preschool. And we know we're going to be short. We know we already are short. There's no reason to reduce this down to 4 years. No reason, absolutely no reason at all. I'm asking for a no vote on L004.
Motion is the adoption of L004. Senator Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And obviously, my co-prime sponsor is full of fire and vigor, and she has her convictions, and I commend her for that. Well, my commitment is that we are going to get this early childhood educator tax credit. Yes, I was asked to negotiate this, and you know what? I am not going to throw the governor under the bus. Decisions, I am not throwing the governor under the bus, because there are decisions that are made in this building that are not my decisions alone. So I appreciate the 4 years that we are given for this tax credit. One year short of what we requested. And you know what? We don't always get what we want with our Christmas list. We don't always get what we want with our Christmas list. And I cannot believe that I'm standing here arguing about this. Well, you know, let's sing Kumbaya.
The motion is to throw the governor under the bus. All those. Senator Buckner, I'm sorry. Senator Buckner, please.
No, I want to finish. And in all seriousness, I understand what my co-prime is doing here. However, I disagree. I am asking for a yes vote for this early childhood educator tax credit as amended, which gives us 4 years for these amazing educators who need this tax credit. And we can stand here all day and argue about this, but I'm sorry, we are passing this amendment, and on second reading, we are passing this bill.
The good senator from Brighton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome.
Yeah, I actually live in uncorporate Weld County, thank you. And I appreciate the good senator from Aurora, and I appreciate that she doesn't want to throw her governor under the bus, but I'm more than willing to throw him under the bus.
Wait, hold on
Here's
just
the
a
thing.
minute.
I certainly appreciate that.
We're not throwing anybody under the bus today.
Okay,
That's not what we're here to do.
hold on. We don't have folks speaking unless they're being recognized by the chair. And so I know Senator Kirkmeyer was speaking. Please, Senator Kirkmeyer, and then we'll have Senator Buckner come back and speak.
Excuse me.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just going to remind you all one more time the importance of why we need to at least have 5 years. Early childhood and education have tremendous spillover benefits for Colorado's economic development. For each new child care job created, more than 1.5 additional jobs are created in the larger Colorado economy. The tax credit needs to go to 5 years because it's not like tomorrow we're going to be able to start increasing our workforce to the amount that we need for early childhood educators. It's not like within 6 months it's going to occur, or even a year. It's not like we're going to fix that staffing shortage in 80% of the centers across the state in the next 24 months. It's not going to happen. It's not like that the percentage of people leaving this field is going to go down. That somehow miraculously less than 1/3 consider leaving the field because of poor wages. This tax credit could give approximately $4,000 to an early childhood educator. That's a big deal. That's a big deal when you're only making $40,000 a year. That's big. That's a big reason. That's a reason for early childhood educators to stay in the field. And we need them to stay in the field. There's absolutely no reason why we are decreasing this from 5 years to 4 years. No good reason. And we all have the ability here on this floor to have this discussion. This is where the discussion should occur. If there was other discussion that was to occur with the governor's office, it should have occurred at the interim committee. It should have occurred when we introduced this bill. It should have occurred in the education committee when we were putting this bill through. Is that the committee we went to? Did we go to finance? Whatever committee we went to. Sorry. That's where it should have occurred. So there could have been full discussion on it with senators. Because this is a Senate bill. And I truly do appreciate my co-prime sponsor on this. I know she fought hard. And I would never question that. I know because I watched her in the early childhood school readiness interim committee. And I watched her when we introduced this bill. We both know the extreme importance here. We both are acutely aware of the shortfall. A shortfall that has been happening for years, not just in the last 2 years, but a shortfall that is going to expand because of what we've approved here by having free preschool for everybody. There will be a huge shortfall. There is a huge shortfall, and it will only grow. 246,000 kids whose parents are in the workforce need to make sure that there isn't a shortage of early childhood educators. We heard the whole big discussion about why we need to have free preschool. Because we all know 60% of our kids are not reading at a third grade level. We all heard as part of the discussion of why we needed free preschool. It's because we need to get those kids, and we need to start teaching them how to read even earlier. Because apparently we're not getting it done in our public school traditional education system. So we know the importance of it. So we know the importance of keeping early childhood educators in this workforce. And we know we're losing this fight. We know we're losing the battle. So to just unilaterally reduce it from 5 years to 4 years, when we know we're losing the fight, it's just not right. It is just not right. And I do think it's disrespectful that it wasn't included in the negotiation. So again, I ask for a no vote on L004.
The motion is the adoption of L004. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. L004 is adopted.